live.
Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
How y'all doing?
A little hungover, but otherwise okay.
Anderson, how you feeling, pal?
I'm all right. I had to do a bunch of shit today, so busy.
That's fair. No time to enjoy the hangover, right?
Oh, I've long past since gotten over hangovers.
For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, upon the day of recording this, the night prior, we had our challenge stream, as we do every Saturday, and we played Siege, and then we decided to play Drunk Uno for, what, 2.5 hours?
And I used a little bit of this.
Through the leader.
Was that full?
Oh, God, no. No, it was right, like, it was about right there, which is still a good amount of bourbon. Like, let's be fair. Like,
Yeah, that's still a fair amount.
yeah.
That's a fair statement.
And, like, I have not drank like that in a while. So, that was...
Yeah, my 151 bottle was full. Now it's half.
Damn.
Well, I about went through a case of beer, so I feel you. I know Jake was feeling it too. He was drinking Tall Boys.
Oh yeah, that man was straight feeling slump at the end of it.
Oh yeah. I think by the end of the stream, we were all just kind of like, bruh,
Yeah.
I'm going to bed.
Pretty much
Then
straight to
like
bed.
1 in the morning.
Yep. Well, thank you so much for tuning in yet again for all you awesome viewers out there. And if you're watching this right now on our podcast Rewind, thank you as well. If you ever get a chance to tune in on Sunday nights, as we're recording right now, and we stream our podcast every Sunday and our challenge every Saturday, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard for both, 7 Central for all you awesome folks out there, like Sam.
Like me. We're in Texas, and there's 3 inches of snow on the ground in the Austin area, which is just weird. This never happens.
True. The only important time zones is Texas and Virginia. No one gives a shit about California.
I mean, this is true. Everyone's kind of just like, yeah, we're done with that state.
Yeah.
If honestly, if an earthquake could just go and hit the San Andreas Fault and just dump it off.
Honestly, if they became an island, I would be happy.
I would say get everybody off of it first. Of course, we don't want anybody to die, but
It's 2021. We're just used to mass historical events at this point.
it's true. I saw a meme. I saw a meme. It was the Ben Affleck smoking outside meme, and it was when '90s kids have just lived through their 10th historical event. True.
Not wrong,
true.
honestly.
Honestly, we started with 2008 housing crisis. Actually, no, we started with 9/11. It just went downhill.
Nah, dog. We started with Clinton, bro. Monica Lewinsky. That was the first one. Let's be honest.
That wasn't even that world changing. It was just a dude getting his nuts off in the Oval Office, which, to be fair, how many of us would love to bust one out in the Oval Office? I can't really fault the man.
I mean, given the chance.
I mean, given the chance,
I plead the fifth.
oh yeah, y'all about to get married. Y'all can't do that.
About to?
I'm
Yeah,
about to.
I was only thinking of Sam at the moment. I'm sorry. Sam is the only thing on my mind.
That was evident last night. There was some awkward sexual tension between you two, and honestly, I'm just glad I was drinking to handle it.
The only good mention.
Oh goodness gracious! Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
Last night, I wish if anybody didn't get a chance to now, I wish y'all had. It was interesting to say the least.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it was interesting after Siege because I was a fucking scrub. I can fully say I fucking suck at Siege.
I mean, it wasn't a bad and so
I did get 3 kills though. I'm
honestly,
happy about that.
Yeah, good
honestly,
job.
I'll say this. This does kind of tie into our topic for the evening, because the soundtrack on that game is banging. Like I think that
For Siege or Uno.
I love for both really. Honestly, like
I wouldn't
Uno
know.
was just like super
I had all
super
that
smooth.
turned
It was
off.
just a bop.
I had to turn it
You
off.
did. We didn't want to get DMCA.
Yeah, I turned it
Why
off
can't
on
we
my
just
end.
use music like corporations and stuff. Like, just let me use it. Like, we're clearly not trying to make a profit off of it right now. Like,
Shit, I already buy Spotify and iTunes, so just let me use the music I already paid $3.99 for.
yeah, not wrong.
I mean, that's fair. That is fair. Like, that's a whole different topic. We could get into that later on.
That's
yeah.
a whole bunch of legal shit.
Oh, it kind of ties in.
But like,
With,
it kind of does. It kind of does.
Yeah.
And yeah, we could talk about that.
Hey, nice
But,
segue.
no, as far
Yeah.
as Siege, as far as Siege goes, like Siege has a pretty dope, soundtrack to it. I really enjoy the music to it. Reminds me a lot of the Battlefield music, like Battlefield 4,
Yeah.
and Battlefield 1 as well. It's just like super, super intense.
And they
Although,
got
like,
character
I know-
models in there that have no reason to be that damn thick.
This is true. But if you're a first time listener, go back and listen to or watch, whichever you prefer, our episode the most iconic volume 1. And that it was Juice, Allen, and I believe it was, that actually talked about the most iconic theme songs that we could think of. And I think it was like 6 of them.
Yeah.
But we had like Halo, Super Mario, what else? GTA San Andreas, Battlefield. We had Battlefield 4, that is. What else was on there? I can't remember what else, but I'm talking about, like, of course, the most iconic theme songs when you could hear them anywhere and immediately know where it came from. And so, like, talking about Siege, just the game last night was fun. I feel like we would have done better if we had time to practice. Like, that's a big thing and that's kind of the commitment we have to make as with gamers. Like any gamer who does this kind of stuff, you have to make a commitment of, if you're gonna do something and you want to be good at it, you just have to lay time to practice it.
Yeah.
Like, I played Siege every single night this past week, and I was no better than what I was because that's a week. Like,
That's true, but it's also
I
got to be
played
like.
casual and I played unranked. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, that's pretty true. But it's also like the fact that you got to actually enjoy the game that you're playing and stuff like that. Which, if anyone knows me and my background with games, I'm not suited towards Siege at all.
yeah, it is very tactical and you got to kind of try hard a little bit. So
Well, also, I think something too was the fact that we were. We had the Wheel of Death against us on that too.
Fuck the wheel.
To give us a challenge. Like,
That wheel can
I
go
think
fuck
if we
itself.
played it straight up, it's fair. I think if we actually had just played straight up, which I'd like to in the future, I'd like to go back and do Siege again, but I'd like to just play it a bit more, get used to it, know the call outs and things, know the weapons, know each ability, maybe get a few more operators, and then
Maybe actually have more characters than just 2, like I was working with.
Well, that's the thing is when you're working with those few characters, like, it's difficult because you don't have many options. Like, if we were playing unranked and they had negated one of your characters, you're only stuck.
I couldn't have played. I wouldn't have been able to play at all.
Yeah, so it's like, I get that, but I'd definitely like to go back and play that again in the future, where the 3 of us actually have time to sit down and play it and actually understand the game a bit more.
Yeah.
And maybe the challenge be like we enter some online tournament to see how well we do. Who
Oh,
knows?
fuck that. If we're gonna do that, I'm gonna have to put that in my planner to actually practice. And yes, I'm old enough to have a planner. Fuck off, chat.
yeah, my fiance has an entire YouTube channel and Instagram dedicated to planners. So don't worry, I got you.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Shout out to LA Plans on Instagram and
It
YouTube.
doesn't help me. Joe, the phone doesn't help me when I have 3 phones.
Drug dealer or something?
No, it's called
Kevin
work.
Gates over there.
Got a trap phone over here? Like what? Like,
I got 2 phones. But no,
I can't even say anything
going,
because it's true.
but going back to the soundtrack, this episode is all about the music. And again, if you didn't get a chance to tune into our challenge, you can of course check that out. Just like we do a podcast rewind, we'll have a challenge rewind. Just be on the lookout for that. It should be within a week, and we'll have it out for you. Shout out to Sugar, awesome editor, dude's a beast. Makes us
Really
look
is.
way better than we should.
yeah.
Oh man, but no. So talking about soundtracks, that Siege soundtrack definitely gets you hype, and then the Uno soundtrack from last night was
It's just chill.
like, I know y'all weren't listening to it. I was, just because I wanted, like, when I play a game, I like to immerse myself into it, and as much as I can, especially if I'm playing with friends, like it's fun.
Mhm.
And the soundtrack definitely helps you do that. Like, it doesn't matter which, like, Uno, setup you're playing on that, or Siege. Like, the music just puts you right into the game.
And that's something with music, with video games, is they can, like, soundtracks can make or break a video game. 100%. Like, I mean, like, would
Very
Halo
much so.
be as good as it was without the don't get me wrong, it'd still be a very good video game. Like, I mean, there's nobody is going to deny that, but like, to elevate it up to that, like, true, like, iconic level, like when somebody can start humming that or singing it, or like there's a viral video on YouTube of like a bunch of dudes singing that in a boy's bathroom or something like that. Like, I mean, it just immediately just takes you right back to playing Halo 1, Halo 2, Halo 3, whatever Halo you want to play. And I mean, it just immediately, like, in my opinion at least, and I mean, and Joe and I and Anderson all are pretty big into music, similar kind of music taste, but I mean, like, music is, for me at least, something that can absolutely make or break a video game.
Yeah, and with music and stuff like that, sound design is one of the things, and not even just gaming, but in like the industries as a whole.
Yeah.
That is often overlooked and like underappreciated, but is one of the most important things of whatever piece of entertainment you're generating. And like, sound design and sound quality just goes so far. Like, the way I've heard it from people that work in sound design and stuff is that, like, good sound design and sound quality shouldn't be noticed.
Yeah. Unless it's a soundtrack.
Yeah, it should be. Well, the biggest thing is, with good sound design and good sound quality, the purpose of a full immersion into a game is for every one of your senses, of course, excluding taste.
I was
But, like,
about to
your
say, you
visuals
can't really taste a video game.
I mean, you could.
Although
like,
sometimes I
Case,
wish
maybe.
to, like in Kakarot with their fucking meals. Good lord. Or Final Fantasy 15, was it?
I don't know.
I thought you were trying to say you were trying to get a hold of Bulma.
Nah, I'd much rather go for 18 or launch.
Jesus. But no, like,
I'm
the
lost.
purpose of it is for your auditory and your visual senses to be just immersed
Yeah.
into the game. It's for your brain to focus here and here, like, so that way there's nothing outside that's going to distract you from what's going on. And that's really what makes a good game. Like, the gameplay has to be good, it has to be immersive, the storyline has to really be good. But but I agree with Sam, if the soundtrack is trash, it's going to ruin the game. It really is, because of course we want an all-around good gameplay, but that's also to say that if the soundtrack's great and the game's trash, well, the game's still trash. Like, I might enjoy the soundtrack, but I'm not going to want to play it. I'm gonna just sit there and listen to menus the whole time. Like, and I feel like with the soundtrack, if the soundtrack isn't purposefully immersing you into what you're about to play, it's just it's kind of a wash, because you kind of lose that feeling. You're just kind of like, nah, I'm gonna play it to play it. But
Yeah.
prime example, and this wasn't even really a soundtrack, this is just the overall music playing in the game. But just a few weeks ago, and we're gonna be releasing this as a playthrough, so spoilers, but I was playing Subnautica for the very first time, and I have never seen video of Subnautica. I have never looked at anything in regards to Subnautica. I haven't listened to anything in regards to Subnautica. I just downloaded the game and was like, you know what? Like, I genuinely, and I can say this to a T, and I believe I said this in my playthrough, I had never heard of the game until I downloaded it. I had never even heard of this game. And so I download it, pop it in, and the first thing you hear is the rolling water. And you're like, oh shit.
Yeah, so for you, it was just like, oh, that's great. For me, when I did it, I was just like, I hate this. I hate everything to do with
I
it.
loved it.
Yeah.
I fucking
But
hate
then-
the ocean.
But of course, you go through the intro and everything, and your spaceship crashes, your life pod hits the water, you're trying to figure out what the hell's going on. You just see this massive world of water around you, and you're like, huh, what happened? And then as soon as you get in the water, the soundtrack hits, and you're just like, whoa. Like, you're hearing the different species of fish around you making the noises, like the big like glowing manatees making their weird noises, and it's incorporated into the music, and you're just like,
No, that's cool.
"Bruh."
Because I hadn't played
Like,
Subnautica
it's-
since it was like back in like alpha or beta or something, where like they really didn't have much of that. Like they mostly had like some basic ass sound effects, and like the big ship, like you couldn't go in the big ship like at all. Like it was not good back then. I need to go and pick up and play that.
I recommend doing it because it was like that that's because being in such an open world game, like it's a survival game is really what it is. And it's like depending on how far deep in the ocean you go, it becomes survival horror, if we're being honest. But the game itself, like being an open world game, there are some, like I've played Ark, and I know Ark is just it's not one that we should really kind of use as a
We really should.
example. But Sam and I put in a bunch of time in Ark a while ago, like probably a year or so ago.
It was longer than that.
The sound, yeah, true. Actually, probably a few years ago. But I think it was right when it first came out, if I'm not mistaken.
On console, yeah.
Yeah, and the music in that game didn't do it for me.
Yeah, no, it was kind of
Like
trash.
the gameplay was all right. Like I didn't hate the game. I still to this day don't hate the game. Is it buggy? Sure, but I don't hate the game. I'll still play it. I think it's fun being able to run around and try and survive in a full-on Jurassic, world, if you will. But or even trying to swim away from Megalodon. But the music just didn't do it. Like there was nothing encompassing within that music. There was nothing that drew me in and was like, here is an altogether well-rounded game, and here is the music to really make you feel it. Like I didn't feel that. But with Subnautica, my God, like it, and 10 out of 10 would recommend playing every time. Like I'm still playing through it just for the fun. I haven't beaten the game. I know there's a way to beat it now because I've watched Jacksepticeye, but like,
did you watch the original one or the Nostalgia Week one?
I watched Nostalgia.
Oh, okay, I thought so.
Yeah, I watched Nostalgia, but like even then, I now know that there's a way to beat the game. But for me, I'm just enjoying the exploration factor. Like there's so many layers to that game, and it's just so good. And the music goes with it, dude. Every time the music goes with it.
I'll leave that game to you two because I hate the ocean and anything that reminds me of it. So have fun with that.
I mean, that's fair.
You will catch me in any playthroughs and all the playthroughs I do that I will not touch water unless I absolutely have to. And if I have to, I'm literally going through it the fastest I can.
Yeah. Well, to pivot on that then, and so instead of your most hated and most terrifying kind of game, what kind of game jumps out at you to, that just kind of invokes that, the soundtrack, just like brings back memories, or, just had like a fantastic soundtrack overall?
Well, like I would say the games that I like are like mainly like RPG or like world exploration or stuff like that. So the two, well, one of course being Halo, because the sound design throughout most of the Halo games are just fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I just love how they work the music, especially because I like more when it comes to games and stuff like that, especially when it comes to combat or stuff like that. I like the orchestra feel or something like that to really heighten the emotions and stuff and senses in the game. But one I would say that does stand out to me would be the Mass Effect series.
Oh, good choice. Yeah.
Yeah, because those games are completely in line with like my type of what I like to play, but their sound design, like you can still go and see people just playing like the the soundtracks on like Spotify or something like that, like the Reaper theme, all that stuff in the Mass Effect 3. That shit was cake, because you actually felt that shit, and it was actually so well like designed into the game that the spikes in the action actually matched with the spikes in the music.
Yeah. Yeah, good choice. I like it. You know, it has a good one that nobody really ever thinks about. At least I don't think about it. But like, us getting on this topic kind of made me think like, well, what video games? I mean, because I knew Halo was going to be an option, but
of course,
like top tier kind of stuff. But Skyrim,
you can't get over a bunch of dudes in a bathroom just sounding out the Halo theme.
No, Skyrim and really Elder Scrolls in general has a fantastic soundtrack. And I mean, and then like, even though like a lot of it's just kind of like when you're in the open world, it's not really doing anything, but like in certain parts of the story story, and even just at the beginning, you know, it's like Dovahkiin. You're like, I'm fucking Dragonborn. I'm gonna start like, you know, shouting dragon dragon words.
I'm a fucking killer,
Like,
fucking
yeah,
dragon. I
like,
don't give a shit.
yeah, exactly. And so like kind of what you were talking about with like the whole like kind of orchestral kind of choir effect. I feel like, you know, I mean, you know, always kind of, if you look into like human psychology, I feel like, you know, a lot of people just kind of dig that stuff. I mean, I don't think anybody really hates it, do they? Like,
Not that I know of, but yeah, that is funny you mentioned that because that is definitely in my top 5.
Yeah.
Because I still have the soundtrack for Skyrim on my Spotify account
Nice.
that I will play occasionally.
Yeah.
Because the overall like atmospheric feel of the music and like the echoing with it, because they use a lot of like throat singing and stuff with like that, and the Skyrim music.
Yeah.
It's either really calming or really hypes you up.
yep.
Unless you're in a dark cave, real down like in the dwarven areas, then it kind of just like puts you on edge.
Oh yeah, and they do a fantastic job of that because I mean the dwarven areas are scary as fuck, honestly.
Yeah, I
At least
fucking hate the
in my
dwarven
opinion.
areas.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm completely with you on that one. Especially when like I go down to I'm really deep into the dwarven areas, and then a fucking like centurion jumps out from its
Yeah.
brackets. I'm just like, I don't know.
Like I was not prepared for this at all.
I was not prepared for
Like,
it. And then like 2 others pop out. And it's just like, all right, I'm gonna just go backtrack real quick.
Yep. Joe, anything to add? Or subtract?
Another game that comes to mind for me, because I played Skyrim a little bit, but I never really like played it to completion.
Yeah.
I will say, as
I
far
have
as the overall
thousands of hours in
soundtrack,
Skyrim.
wasn't me. Honestly, like I've
I
tried.
feel that.
I've tried all the Elder Scrolls games. I just couldn't get into it. Like, and I don't know what it is. Like, because it's very much.
I will say at a point they are kind of tedious.
No, definitely.
I feel like for me, if a game, okay, so this is probably the ADD in me coming out, because sometimes if I'm playing a game, I get a little ADD. But if the game has so many like external things from the main plot, I'm kind of like, "Buh. What do I do?"
Like overwhelmed or just like, I don't want to do this.
No, not overwhelmed. I just kind of go like, oh, there's this. Oh, there's that. Oh, there's that. Okay. Oh, I can go over here too. Okay. Well, what about, but I should not go save. Hold on. What? Like, and for me, I guess it's also the time period of the game too. Cause
You don't like
Assassin's
the medieval
Creed. Well, I wasn't big on medieval. Not really, no. Like, I'll say I loved Witcher, and I know that's kind of medieval, but
stuff? Yeah, it's more
like,
fantasy if you really think about it.
There's fucking dragons
well,
in Skyrim. I think it's fucking fantasy.
Yeah, Skyrim's also fantasy.
I put them about on the same level. I mean, you are born of a dragon. You can say these words that like will conjure a storm or, you know, whatever else. I mean, like to me, like Witcher and Skyrim have a lot of corollaries that, you know, like make them pretty similar.
yeah. But I would say, and not to get off topic, of course, because this is more about the music side, but as far as the games go, like I've played Witcher and I love Witcher. I think it was just the fact that the story of Geralt, being that I follow that story so much, like I really appreciate that story. Whereas I've just never really gotten to the story of any of the Elder Scrolls games.
It wasn't
Yeah.
a story to begin with, but yeah.
Well, because
Yeah.
it's not a character that follows you the entire time or anything like that. You know, it's
Correct.
like you're different people in every single game, and there's a totally like, you know, they're totally different worlds for the most part, or worlds or continents that, you know, have their own thing, which is cool that they kind of try to incorporate that later on. Anyway, that's a whole nother thing that we can talk about at some
Yeah,
other
because
point.
you got
but-
like the champion in Daggerfall, and then you got the hero in Oblivion.
Yeah.
You got the Dragonborn in Skyrim. It's just all different. So,
Yeah.
I mean, they've done the lore justice and tried to match it all together, but anybody can look at it and just be like, yeah, it's just they were making games. They didn't think about any of the world building.
Yeah, whereas Witcher is just a perfect example of classic storytelling, and they have a pretty good kind of sound atmosphere as well.
This is true. I would say, as far as open world games, again, that kind of follow the story with that, with the music following it, is one that I have. I mean, I've absolutely raged about in a good way since I beat the game, since I started playing it, really, and that's Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Yeah.
Odyssey was just fantastic because even in the game, like it wasn't as you're on the ocean that the music's playing. You can listen to the waves crashing, but you also hear your crew singing, like singing old songs that they were more than likely singing at that time as you're rowing a big ass ship across the water. And so that was really cool to me, like incorporating that style of music where it's more organic to the game and what you're doing, and not just, oh, let's slap a track over this while you're on the boat. Like the moment you enter the boat, oh, this song starts playing and you can hear it in your headphones. Like, no, it was you get on your boat and you hear people chattering, and then as soon as you take command, you're like, all right, ship, sails down, move, like, and as soon as you hear that, you hear the people like, ho 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 ho, it's off to work we go, like, but not necessarily that, but
Yeah, but more. Yeah, I get what you're saying. I like that in Valhalla. They had the same thing in Valhalla. and I
Valhalla's
like that
really
a
good.
lot.
Yeah.
I have I have yet to play it. I want to play it so bad, but my computer won't hold up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. I could never get into Odyssey. I don't like stuff that takes place in like the Roman Greek era, except for God of War. That's about it.
I love it. Dude, I could eat that up all day long.
Yeah.
I fucking hate it, especially when they get there, because I actually like looking into mythology and stuff like that with like the Norse gods and the Greek gods and everything like that. And whenever something is like wrong, it just turns me off completely. I'm like, all right, they obviously didn't have enough care to actually look into what this means. So now, like, I should have care to play the game. And I found a lot of that with Odyssey.
I would say that's a different topic for a different day because I could definitely go in on that.
Oh,
we should talk about that one.
Yeah, definitely.
We should definitely talk about that one. I'd be more than happy to. I'd love to.
Coming up soon
I
on
love
the podcast.
Right? Tune in next week.
Yeah.
Oh no, not next week. I need more time to get the information straight.
Oh, and the legend himself is back. Get good, kid.
Oh Jesus! All right, chat's emotes only.
No, no. He said the exact opinion a king like Anderson would be expected to have.
Dude, you got your own little fan club, bro.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, he's
Keep
he's the
repping.
president, CEO, and king of that club.
Yeah, dude, you got a
I
one-man
respect
fan club.
him, but also because this is Anderson's fan club, fuck you.
Yeah. I mean, that's just the official greeting, isn't it? Like you just walk up to somebody saying, fuck you, and fuck you, and fuck you.
Just walk into my
That's
corporate
really
meeting.
Anderson
Hey,
in a
fuck you.
nutshell.
Yep.
You're not wrong.
Anyway, getting back
No,
on topic for just a second. Joe, when you get to Valhalla, and I won't spoil anything, of course, but like, so they kind of went on another level with the songs that you were talking about, like while you're on the ship. So they have the songs that you can pick from now, so you can actually cycle through them. But then they also have stories, and they're actually really, really interesting. So I think you're gonna like that.
Ooh, we want to talk about stories and like the atmosphere and stuff. God of War, when you're on the boat and getting stories like that, is great.
Yeah.
Why are you shaking your head?
I thought you were about to go into Valhalla. I was like, don't you dare.
No. When
Joe's about to deafen himself in
this.
Discord, just like, nope.
You watch me disappear with a quickness, headphones off, just to make sure I don't hear anything.
Yeah.
No, don't worry. All of us here hate spoilers.
Good. Now, another
But
game.
also in Valhalla, you fucking.
Another game, as far as the soundtrack goes, that Anderson, I know you really enjoy. Sam, I don't know if you've ever played these. The Devil May Cry series.
I played
Boy.
a little bit of it, but like I don't know. I just never kind of really got into it.
Yeah, I play them here and there, but yeah, the soundtrack in Devil May Cry is actually pretty okay.
It's so damn good. It is just because it's all action. Like the whole game is all action, and I even playing DMC5. By the way, probably best of the series, easily. But just the soundtrack and that. Oh my god!
Good. Yeah, I'm aware. I've been trying to figure it out, but I don't know
Can I find this on Spotify?
what's going
Where's
on.
this
So
at?
hopefully in the
Google,
next couple
tell me what
streams I'll get
song
that figured out.
this is. Like, it's just so good. I mean, that's another exact example of a game that fully immerses you into it, because you are focused on pulling off the most insane combos ever, while this like this driving music's behind you, and it's just like you are so in it. And I know one game that's very much like that with the not necessarily more electro metal, I guess you could call it, whatever it is, but more metal is one that Anderson will love, and I'm waiting for him to say it. I'm waiting for you to say the specific game that I know you want to say of the probably one of the best soundtracks that any of us have ever heard.
Doom.
Thank you.
Well, because I was sitting there, I was listening, and I was just like, could he be talking about Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance?
No, I was literally about to say, if you didn't get it, I was going to say Doom Squad.
No, fucking Doom soundtrack is fucking amazing. And I'm talking about Doom 2016 because that is a fucking banger.
Yeah.
Doom Eternal is pretty good, but it's not on the same level because of, you know, the complications they have with that in Mitch. So, I mean, it's still pretty good, but Doom 2016 soundtrack is the one I still have on my playlist, and I will listen all the time. Joe has seen me with this soundtrack when I'm driving my truck, and I just blast Megamind or just Doom intro theme, and there's no emotion on my face. I'm just staring straight ahead like a madman. I'm
Like there's
sure
some shit going on up here that you don't want to know.
I'm sure I scared a soccer mom next to me at a traffic light once because I was blasting Megamind and I was just straight face, just like, and no emotion. And I saw her out the corner of my eye and she was just horrified.
You know, I will say, and this is a big shout out to devs and also composers as well, but those who take time in their games to really engage the soundtrack or engage the music that's in it to match the feel of each individual scene that you're playing out. Like games, I've seen games that can have this insane like action series that's the music is just driving, and then all of a sudden you get to this point where it's just like and like almost like a faint noise, like this orchestral, like off in the distance sound that you hear, and like the cello's playing, and it's like this vibrant, just enclosing sound to the scene, like things like that. When composers take that time to really think out, like, okay, if I'm playing this and I'm seeing this in front of me, what is the first thing I'm going to hear? Okay, let's put this into an actual like music scenario here. Like when someone takes the time to really invest, not in just the gameplay is important. Nonetheless, like the gameplay is always important because that's what you're signing up for.
It's a game, yeah.
Yeah, but when someone takes the time to really have a composer sit down and go, we want you to put the best music that you can to this. Here's what all the cinematics look like. Here's what the gameplay looks like. You tell us what you can do.
Yeah, and I would say like a prime example of that would be like the just to bring back Halo again in Halo 3 when you had the flood invasion. That was a prime good like composed piece where it's calm at the beginning because you're just getting into the fight. It's straight up hectic and erratic all through it until you get to the very end of the flood ship to retrieve Cortana.
Yeah.
Or even in Halo 3 where a different scene, but when you're driving the Warthog at the very end trying to escape.
Like,
oh yeah, she gets you hyped and tense all at the same time. Like
I remember playing that at lock-ins, like, you know, when I was younger, going to church lock-ins, and we would have it on the big projector, and the speakers are playing it, and I'm standing up like, go, oh yes, like, and it's just, oh my god.
You want to talk about the music that turns a gamer into a pro gamer real quick? I've seen Complete News go on that mission, and like it's on legendary difficulty. They've never played Halo before, and then they come out driving like a NASCAR superstar.
He made a left turn.
Make a left turn and drift around this little corner over here and pick up Shine on the way.
You know what? I'm going to segue off of that because it's funny you bring up NASCAR. And I know y'all are probably wondering, like, what the hell?
Yeah, I'm curious now.
So I've actually played NASCAR games before because once upon a time I actually enjoyed NASCAR, stock car racing. I prefer F1. I prefer F1 now, honestly. I don't watch NASCAR anymore. Not a
F1 is the one with the super fast, like, T-pose cars.
The T-pose cars.
I call T-pose cars.
Formula One cars, yes.
Okay, so the T-post cars.
Oh my god. Honestly, like I like no lie, I feel like even like Formula One drivers would be a little disrespected by that, just for the amount of like insanity they go through. But I'll give you the T-pose. I also know the meme you're going for here, so it's okay. But I will say, if you ever played a NASCAR game or any kind of sports game, they don't have composers, they have playlists. And all of these playlists, all right, go on, Dark Souls. All these playlists, what are y'all doing?
Praise the sun.
Random break. But all these playlists have songs that you could hear on the radio, hear on your Spotify, whatever you listen to, which is a great plug. Find the Gaming Bunch on Spotify, iTunes, and Anchor. But these playlists are made up of songs that are owned by labels, which brings us right into DMCA.
Ugh.
I will say that gives me that much more appreciation for composers.
We got Rise of the Downfall. Sorry to interrupt. We got Rise of the Downfall in the chat saying, "What the fuck?" More than likely to our T-pose. Like I think that's about the same time for the delay.
That's fair. That's fair. But as far as with these playlists and DMCA, in today's day and age, it's a lot harder to navigate around that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because you've got
legality stuff around that is so vague.
Correct. Like it's what is okay and what isn't. Because unless, and I'm safely guessing, and I can look at all the DMCA rules and everything, and I'm gonna sit here and be very honest. I haven't looked at all the DMCA rules. I just know that it's safe not to play music unless it's very clearly stated that it's not copyright. Shout out to
If you're just tuning in,
Harris Heller.
Rise of the Downfall.
Yeah, because we're not lawyers.
Yeah, sorry
We
about
don't
the
look at
T-pose.
those kind of things on our free time.
Sam, you are 100% muted right now.
I know. I was talking to Rise of the Downfall. It was the T-pose that got him. What the fucking.
Nice.
If you're just tuning in, you're just gonna have to go back and see why. But
but no, so like with DMCA though, it makes it so much more difficult being able to play those games on stream or even just YouTube in general. Another prime example. I was just playing Watch Dogs 2. Unfortunately, my playthrough of that won't be coming out anytime soon because those files are jacked up. But when you get into a car, if you get just like GTA, when you get into a vehicle, the first thing that happens, the car doesn't start. The first thing that happens is music starts playing.
Yep.
Do you know how many times I almost broke my controller trying to shut that music off? But it's just because DMCA has absolutely destroyed in every single way the ability for any good music to be played in these games, or for anybody to actually play these games and show that music off. It's almost as if they're kind of like suffocating the music out of the gameplay, just strictly making it gameplay, which really takes a lot of the experience away.
And like development studios and stuff like that, they don't want to deal with all the legalities and like counterforces you got to go through just to get those licenses and stuff, because it is a whole process and it is not a light process.
I'm sorry. I gotta interrupt.
Sam's
again.
laughing at something, and I genuinely don't know what it is.
It's the legend himself. Coming back in the chat. Said, imagine clicking an extremely underrated stream, thank you by the way, while balls deep in a bag of Cheetos, and you look up at your screen and these three absolute units are motionless in a T-pose.
That's fair, but I also want to know what he meant by balls deep.
I mean,
Like, did you stick your dick in
Hey,
Cheetos?
look,
you ever try to flavor your shit?
balls deep in
Like,
Cheetos, bro.
I mean, I prefer Fritos myself, but come on, dog.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair. Damn. Thank you.
That was hard. Yeah, that was. Oh, that's good.
Thank you for the underrated part. I appreciate
Yeah.
that. Shit, where was it? Oh yeah, DMCA. But like, what are y'all's thoughts on that? Because, like I said, for me, just kind of concluding the thought, I feel like that's just stifling. Not even, excuse me, not stifling, suffocating. Excuse me, it's suffocating the music out of the gameplay, which really ruins a lot of the games.
100%. I mean, if you're watching somebody streaming it and, you're kind of like, say, you're somebody that like maybe can't afford, video games, and you're kind of, trying to experience the game through these personalities you've come to grow and love, like say the Gaming Bunch on YouTube. But,
Shameless plug.
Yeah, shameless plug, by the way. I mean, so you're sitting there trying to enjoy the game just like the person streaming it, but you're only getting half of the experience if he has to mute the gameplay audio or like turn the music off and like stream some non-DMCA stuff. And so, yeah, it's unfortunate. And I think that like, I'm really hoping sometime in the near future, there's a strong push to kind of end the whole, DMCA strikes. Cause I mean, I get where Twitch was coming from with all these like bans and everything, like, cause they're getting a bunch of pressure and potentially a bunch of lawsuits. And so they had to deflect. It's unfortunate it had to be on streamers and everything. And that's a totally different topic for another day. But, it's one of those things that's just super unfortunate.
Yeah, I kind of echo with both of y'all on that one. It's stifling to the composers, and not even them, just in the community, that these DMCAs and copyright strikes are just absolutely stifling the community and game community and music community. Because on the one hand, I can see, companies and stuff aren't getting their money if people just play their I guess music in the games through their streams and stuff like that. But at the same time, they already got their money. We paid for the game. We paid for the music in the game. Why not let us use it? But since everything's wrapped up in legalities and stuff, and copyright and DMCA is so loosely defined, there's really no way to get around it unless you take it to like a big legal case.
Yeah.
And I really hope that something like that happens. But at the same time, I'm not looking forward to it, because it's going to be a mess and a half. Because when that comes about, they're going to have to redefine the terms of copyright, DMCA, legal music, what can be copyrighted, what can't be copyrighted, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, and Rise of the Downfall in the chat brought up a good point. You're starting to see the actual, like creators and publishers of these games kind of try to adapt around that as well. He said that Forza has a setting to turn off copyright music for creators, so that way they're not going to be potentially struck down, but they can still at least get like engine sounds and shit like that.
And it's great that they did that, but it's also a sad fact. It's a sad fact that they have to do that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Well, so here's the thing, and this goes to the level of my music industry knowledge, which, I mean, I'm not working within some label, but I've worked with labels before. And the thing of it is simply this, is if a song is owned by an artist or a label, and they have gone through the motions, the legal measures to make sure that that song cannot be used in any format unless they have given full approval, which means probably some sort of monetary gain was in it. Totally understandable. I get it.
Contract.
Yeah, I mean, this is assuming the contract's involved.
Mm-hmm.
There wouldn't be a case where there wasn't a contract. Point blank. Period.
We hope not.
So, if a band, an artist, a label, anything in that field that owns that music has gone through these processes, I totally get it from that standpoint. I mean, and this is to go, and again, we might have said this before, honest mistake on our part, but for those of you who've been watching us for a long time, we had to change our intro track. Shout out to Mr. Cruz for making us our dope intros, outros, all the tracks that you hear except for the one for the challenge. Shout out to Anthony or Mr. Tony Bahila for that. But those two guys helped us out because we had an intro track that we found that clearly stated non-copyright. Guess what?
And then it wasn't.
It wasn't just copyrighted. It was literally owned by one of the biggest labels in the world.
Yep. They were just like, oh, fuck.
Big yikes.
So, yeah. So we got hit with that. I remember the day I saw it, it was just like every one of our videos, and I'm like,
Oh shit.
oh shit. Like, but that's the thing, is we had no idea. So there's an avenue right there for those who don't know. Definitely, we've said this before, and this is something we preach often: do your research. If you have music that you want to use or think that it's not, like, it's safe, research it. There are back channel engines, there are back channel searches that you can use to find out if that song is owned by anyone. I mean anyone.
Yep.
But really, it comes down to the fact that I get it. I get it from the label and artist side, and I get it from the content creator side. Because if the label and artist have worked together or worked on their own to make sure that this content that they are providing is owned and operated by them and only distributed by them, then they have every right to say, nope. They have every right to tell you you are not allowed to use this, and they have every right to pursue any legal action. And I get that. I totally get that.
I agree with that too. Okay, go.
I'll say, however, we've reached the pinnacle here. We've reached the point. We've reached the top. You have content creators who are not just on the rise, but literally running media. I mean, running it. And you have the labels over here with their music who are constantly pumping out tracks. At some point, you have to meet in the middle and go, okay, what can we do to be able to still utilize this music and us still do what we do, and you get some of the views from it too? Because if you think about it, if a streamer, let's take any streamer, it doesn't matter if it's Mark, Jack, Courage, Tim, Lupo, anybody, they could have multi-million views or they could have minimal views. It doesn't matter. If a content creator is playing your song on their stream and they are not asking for monetary gain, that is free marketing. Point blank, period. Free marketing.
Yeah.
That's where I'm trying to see here, is why haven't we gotten to a point where we can meet in the middle? Why can't we just say, okay, the label, you know what? We're not going to gain any monetary, compensation for your music. We're not going to. And you know what? If you want to have it where we split the profits, you get 5% because I'm playing this song 20 times in my show, sure. If I'm playing a game and your song pops up 20 times while I'm playing, sure. If whatever it is that I'm doing has your song in it, that frequent, sure, I get it. But it's not the case. Usually it's played once, or somebody uses it. There's even times, and I know that Mr. Cruz has said this, there's even times where content creators will use a track that they purchased the right to use it, post it on a montage video, and that montage video gets flagged for copyright.
Yeah.
And they'll go through all the channels to get it fixed, but it's not fixed because YouTube's going, no, somebody else owns that.
It's like, yes, but I bought the rights to it, so I am legally allowed to play it.
Exactly. But where's the disconnect?
Disconnect where's the paperwork?
It has to be.
Well, I mean, I don't think that you're really ever uploading any kind of proof of that. You're just purchasing it and then using it. How's YouTube supposed to know that at this point? I think that's the disconnect.
Yeah, unless they programmed it in a part where you could upload the legal files and stuff like that for YouTube to see, they're not really going to be able to know.
There needs to be a digital key or something like that gets uploaded. You know what I'm saying?
There needs to be some sort of backlog search for really, it needs to be a backlog search of if we're gonna have Mr. Review Andy over here at YouTube, who's gonna review every single video coming through. Okay, what song do they use? Okay, is their name on this list? Okay, cool. And I know it's not like that. That's a very, very drastic oversimplification of the whole process. I get that, but using that to a visual in the brain. If the AI or whatever system they're using is saying, okay, this song isn't owned by them, flag it. Well, then they should have some sort of algorithm to say, okay, what song is it? Who's this content creator? Do they have the ability to use it? Done. There's nothing stopping anybody from making some master key list. We literally have, facial recognition systems. There's Google. Google has trillions, if not like so many trillions of different things you can search.
You're really struggling
Tell
there.
me how we.
Do you know the word? I was about to say, do you know the word for the set of numbers after trillion?
Is it quadrillion?
And then quintillion. Yes. I mean, it goes on.
Trillion.
And then to bring it back, there's the Google and Googleplex. But anyway, that's a whole different thing. So
Google's listening.
what?
Hi,
Google's
it's the
listening.
guy.
Google's like, what'd you say, bitch?
But yeah, on that note, I would agree with you pretty much wholly on this. It's just I see games being like the concession point of when this is going to happen, because I get it. The label and the music and the band sign all these contracts and stuff like that to have their music be theirs and theirs alone. But when they do that and then they put it into something as free market or as open as a game, and then expect people to be like, oh yeah, you can't use that on your stream or anything because it's ours. Well, then why did you put it in the game in the first place?
Yeah.
It's a game.
Well, therein lies the thing. So a game inherently is for someone to purchase it to play, just to enjoy. The fact that streaming has come about and content creation has come about over the last decade is not necessarily the fact. Like, you gotta think, music's been in games forever. Like, music's been in games for absolutely ever. I'm sure there's some sort of copyright on this music. I can go probably pull every single Xbox and PS4 case off my shelf right now and take a look to see what's on there, see who owns what. I'm sure I could. I'm not going to, but I'm sure it's there. The thing about it is this, though. As content creation and as streaming has grown exponentially over the last few years, the thing that has to be understood is, okay, your game is no longer just for general consumption of user A to plug it in and play it on their own accord. It is now for consumption of user B, who may tune in to go watch someone play it on their stream. So we need to find the way to get around this.
Yeah,
Because-
it just all comes back to definitions and legalities and stuff like that. You have to define these things. You have to make it clear and cut and point what is a game, what is copyright, what is media, and what is consumption, what is free market. You got to define these things and then state it out to what you can and cannot do. But because technology and everything has progressed so advanced in the past 2 decades, actually I should say 3 decades, it hasn't been addressed.
Yeah.
It hasn't.
And
like
that's where we're getting this problem with.
Like Sam said with Forza, if this is the case where we're at, where labels don't want to come up off of it, then games need to install an option to turn off music.
Yeah. And we've had some input on some of that stuff in chat as well.
Let's hear what Chad has to say.
Yeah, Get Good Kid. I mean, so he has his own YouTube channel, so I mean, you should go follow him because he's been an absolute legend in the chat. But he says, I don't have a single video uploaded that I could ever monetize. Copyrights for days. I'm somewhat close to AdSense capabilities, and I'm nervous to even try to push content for profit on YouTube. And continue saying, granted, I use music, but for my videos and my community, you sort of need good music. But I'm about to be experimenting with the royalty-free crap. Rise of the Downfall came through saying, I'm pretty sure legally YouTube can't copyright something if the song is 7 seconds or less. There's probably some gray area there, but I don't know. And that's me commenting
That's
on
actually,
that. Yeah.
that's
Once
actually
again, it's
very
in the
true.
paperwork.
Yeah.
So that's real quick. That's actually very true. I actually found that out myself. So,
doesn't that
another
constitute
fun
like
one,
free use or something like that? But I don't know. I can't remember, but
So it's actually 10 seconds. If it's shorter than 10 seconds, you can use it. So for instance, there's an intro that I created way back on one of our episodes, but it used Epic Saxman from Eurovision.
yeah.
Yeah, so it had that, and I put that track under it, and it had like neon. It was basically like a trigger warning that we put at the beginning of a video because, hey, we look out for our people. And so at the trigger warning, I had that under it because I had the letters in neon lights. Well, we uploaded the video, and it was 12 seconds of the clip. 12 seconds.
Mhm.
And YouTube went, nope. I shortened it to, I think it was 6 seconds or 7 seconds, and YouTube Never said a word.
Dang.
So it is true.
Yeah.
It is true.
And continue on that. So kind of going back to the like how we were talking about like like potentially like digital keys or a master list or something like that. So Linda, my fiance, she has her own YouTube channel, kind of like I mentioned earlier, and so she chimed in with based on where you buy the music. Some of the larger companies have it so you can connect your YouTube account to your account where you buy the music, and that way YouTube knows that you purchased the rights. So like there are ways to kind of get around that with some of these larger companies, but when we're talking like maybe some smaller stuff, that could potentially get in the way. And then Rise of the Downfall came back in saying another thing is I like to use free for profit type beats for my second channel in editing, as personally I play music during time lapses. So that's kind of another potential way around it, I guess. But
sure. And it's good that there's workarounds, but it would be better if we had a defined way to handle this.
Yeah, because I mean, there's nothing that's really defined streaming or YouTube. I mean, like pretty sure all the legal language is archaic at best. Like.
Yeah.
Well, so think of it like this too, and there's a big black hole in the middle of that though. That's for music that you're going to use based on, let's say we did a video on Apex and Sugar threw together a montage for us, right? If Sugar does that and Sugar goes and finds a song, and we purchase the rights to it, and so literally it's the Gaming Bunch now owns the rights to this song to be used in their video. Okay, great. That's one song. The black hole in this big picture, though, is what if you're playing a game, again, like Watch Dogs, like Grand Theft Auto, something that actually has a radio built into when you get in the car, you're listening to the radio as you're driving to your destination. So if you have that, that means you have to buy the rights to every single song played on that radio. And then make sure that not only do you have the rights to use that music, but you have to make sure that that your YouTube account is connected to whoever owns that music. That is thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yep.
That's going to be drained out of people's pockets if that were the case. And not saying anything, like Linda's 100% correct on that. And actually, honestly, everyone who's chimed in is 100% correct on that, on being able to utilize royalty-free music. There's different websites you can go to. And honestly, even one thing you could do to kind of work around this, if you want to have music to use on your show,
make your own.
Make your own. Or even, where did we find Sugar? We went to Fiverr. Shout out to Sugar. Again, Sugar's fantastic and he does fantastic work. We found him through Fiverr. Guess what? Not only can you find video editors on Fiverr, you can find any musician on Fiverr. People who will make you full-on tracks for, pennies on the dollar. And you can go and say, hey, look, I just need a 30-second intro track, or I just need a 3-minute song that sounds like this because I'm doing a montage, or whatever it may be. And that way you own the rights to that song. But when it comes down to all the games that have the music already built in, like if I go listen to any track, like one game in particular that really sticks out to me, and Sam, this is going to throw you way back.
Are you thinking Brutal Legend? Because I've been wanting to bring that up.
No. Well, that's actually a good one. That's a good one.
Brutal Legend, it has so much copyrighted music in it. But anyway, continue. Yeah.
I'm going to throw it back even further.
Oh, damn.
Burnout 3.
Oh, damn, dude. Such a good game.
We played that so much, but think about how much music is in that would actually ruin someone's career because they get copy struck like that. It's
That's not going to bring up if someone tried to stream Guitar Hero.
Oh God.
And that happens. I mean, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
So now there's a new version of it called Clone Hero, which is not technically legal, but it has become very popular.
It's about the same as Frets on Fire.
It is basically the newer version of Frets on Fire, and it's fantastic. I love it. You should download it. But so a lot of them have turned to kind of recreating songs in I don't want to say 8-bit, but kind of synthesized and kind of transforming them enough to kind of skirt by some of that stuff. And that's why Clone Hero cannot be monetized at all, because they still use people have just ripped the music straight from Guitar Hero from the files there, and then recreated the tracks if need be. But you cannot absolutely cannot monetize Clone Hero.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of figured that.
I feel like a good answer, Sam, you brought this up. A good answer to all of this is if games start installing the option in the settings right at the beginning, do you want to hear music in this game? Yes or no? That gives content creators just like us the ability to say, nope.
Oh, and Rise of
the gameplay.
Rise of the Downfall kind of clarified on that a little bit. He said it doesn't turn off all music, but it replaces the copyrighted music with non-copyrighted music. So that way
Even
you're
better.
safe. So that's good. But also to kind of expand on that a little bit, Get Good Kid kind of chime back in because he's, he had a good question and a fair question and something that could potentially, if they change the legal wording on this, could potentially work. But I mean, that's up to people that get paid a lot more than us. He says, I'm ignorant on the subject. But wouldn't it be simple to say that developers of video games purchase the rights to the music on their game? Therefore, if you purchase their game, you own the rights to stream everything in the game.
Say that question again. I want to make sure I heard the wording right.
Yeah. So wouldn't it be simple to say the developers of video games purchase the rights to the music on their game? Therefore, if you purchase the game, you own the rights to stream everything in the game.
I don't think that's how that works.
Well, yeah, so it's definitely not how it works now, but wouldn't it be simple to say such a thing? Like, I mean, that's how they could potentially change some of the wording. Of course, the labels are not going to be on board with that because that's missing out on that.
Losing a whole bunch of potential.
But, like, I mean,
I would offer
in an ideal world, that would be great.
I would offer a counter to that.
Okay.
I would say video games stop using major label music and bring in not just composers but actual musicians to build out the composition for their music of the game.
That's what Doom did.
Yeah, because now what you've done. So take for instance, we're all three musicians. I'm a bassist, Sam's a guitarist, and Anderson's a drummer. Let's say we form a band, right? And a game comes to us and says, "Hey, we want you guys to write the entire soundtrack, front to back of our entire game. We want you. Here's the gameplay. Here's all the cinematics. You build it out the way you hear it." Well, guess what? We're not owned by a label. We're not owned by any kind of overarching Big Brother type music industry. We are a band who owns our own music, who creates our own music, records it, produces it, and distributes it. Well, now you have completely removed the factor of any kind of DMCA being able to take place, because now you have the game who is purchasing the band to do the music for the video game, and now that video game just has to compensate the band.
Yeah,
And
now the company can do their own soundtrack of the music you made.
Correct. And contractually, all they have to say is the band made the music for our game. And as long as the band agrees to this, guess what? You've now removed any kind of legal trouble for any streamer and any gamer. Done. I just kind of using the mentality to conclude it. It's kind of like the small business mentality. Purchase from a small business. You're helping that small business grow. You're giving them a name. You're getting them out there. You have great product that you can use. Everything works. Everyone's happy. And now the consumer is even more happy because they don't have to worry about any headaches.
It sounds good, and I agree with that. However, my only counter to that would be on a game like Guitar Hero, which I know is basically dead now, but let's just throw it back a little bit. Let's pretend it's 2007, 2008, Guitar Hero's at its peak. What drew people to Guitar Hero wasn't the fact that you're playing a plastic guitar with 5 buttons and a shitty strum bar. It was that you're playing actual songs and making it feel like you're playing these songs, and then having different difficulty levels to be able to compete with your friends and everything like that. But anyway, but mostly what drew people to that was its soundtrack. And so, like, if you're hiring like these no names, it's not going to do as well. So there's some give and take to that. So I 100% agree with you, Joe, and I wish that they would do something like that. But there are certain genres of games that wouldn't really benefit from that, and they would have to kind of go to the labels to get rights to stuff.
I completely agree with you. I would just have to say that would be an outlier situation.
Yes, and of course, there's always going to be outlier situations, but that's the thing that jumped immediately to my mind. I mean, and I'd say most of your games, like Halo, I mean, they technically, created their own thing, with Steve Vai jumped in. I mean, so they basically did
Breaking
what you
Benjamin.
said. Yeah, Breaking Benjamin came in on that. Like, I mean, they got some big names in there, but they also had to get the approval of the labels of those big names as well.
Yep.
And so, and that's the overarching problem, I'd say, is just labels suck.
Yeah. Or you get to that point, it's just a bunch of it's getting into legalities and stuff, and there's lawyers for that.
But here's the thing too, and this kind of it ropes in video games, but also at the same time it shows you what the music industry looks like. The music industry is moving away from labels, because back in the day, labels, and this is speaking from a musician standpoint. So back in the day, labels were great. You wanted to be on a label. You wanted to get on Roadrunner. You wanted to get on, Metal Blade if you're a metal band, or you wanted to get on, oh God, what's a pop label?
Sony.
Sony, thank you. Yeah, so perfect. You wanted to get on these labels because what does that do for you? That's distribution. That's creation.
It's marketing.
Like literally helping you create the CDs and the MP3s that are going to be sent out. Distribution to any kind of place that's going to sell your records, sell your soundtrack, sell your songs or whatever it may be. That's shows, booking you all these gigs. Like Anderson said, it's marketing, making sure you're on the Billboard top 100, making sure that you're in the public eye, making sure you're on Sirius XM radio or on whatever common radio you have in your area. The labels used to be the gold standard for music.
And now you see musicians and artists moving away from that and just doing it themselves because they don't want to deal with all the bullshit that comes with.
And because you don't really need them as that package of digital, of marketing and distribution, because we have the fucking internet now. This magical place where we're talking to you guys right now. You just upload it to Spotify, YouTube, wherever else, and you've got your distribution right there. A perfect example. And I know this is somewhat straying from the topic a little bit, but a band that immediately comes to mind of how they kind of got popular was Our Last Night.
Let me guess. Oh damn, I was gonna guess.
Yeah, sorry. It was a little bit delayed for me, so that was Discord's fault. But Our Last Night, I mean, they got popular doing basically pop goes punk covers of stuff, and and then now they're doing their own originals, and they're super popular, and they get a ton, I'm assuming probably a ton of money, but they're on their own doing that. And so that's, I mean, it's kind of been transformative in recent years, and I hope it kind of continues that way to where eventually labels go down that road. But then at the same time, do the bands then start doing the same thing that the labels did?
Yes.
Yeah.
So for those of you, we actually had a full discussion about this last night. I don't know if anybody tuned into the drunk Uno fun that we had, but there was about a 30-minute window where we were talking about our favorite music, like what music we listen to and stuff like that. And I at least remember that. But so I listen to a lot of metal. I listen to a lot of pop punk, a lot of really anything encompassing within the rock genre, progressive, pop metal, if you will, kind of stuff. Like just anything in that realm is a lot of what I listen to. I listen to just about anything except for modern day country. And I think back to bands like when A Day to Remember left their label and created their own label. I think back to, like Sam said, Our Last Night. When Our Last Night, started playing all their own originals, and they got big thanks to YouTube by playing all these, pop goes punk covers, and then had all their originals. So what they made sure to do was they would buy the rights to utilize that song. I know one that we rocked all the time was Skyfall, and they buy the rights to that song. They produce it for their own purpose. and then they put it out. Well, guess what? That song's huge at the time, so that means more people are going to see, oh man, this band did a great cover of it. And then they start making these originals. Oh, well, this band has a bunch of original music. Well, let me go listen.
Let me give those a listen. Yep.
Exactly. And so you look at these standpoints of these bands moving away from these labels, and it goes right into the video game side of things, because now what you're doing is these bands are already taking care of the problem for you. These bands are removing the label completely and going, okay, we're open for business. Who wants us? You know, who wants us to produce some music? Let's go ahead and write something for your game. Let's go ahead and write something for your soundtrack. You got some cinematics, we'll put something to it. Like they're removing the problem altogether. Labels are squandering. I mean squandering, because it's truly a straight up, like, I mean, pitchfork fight for who can get the most artists. And a lot of these artists, whether if you look at hip hop artists, a lot of these artists that are big name, they have their own labels, they have their own production companies. You see a lot of these metal bands nowadays, they just make their own music, they produce it, they put it out, they distribute it themselves. Why? Like Sam said, the internet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of the artists are just moving away and be like, hey, how about I not deal with that bullshit and just make it so where I'm doing it. So that way I'm my own boss and I can dictate where my music goes and all that fun stuff.
Exactly.
And
right.
honestly, it's fine.
Yeah. And so, I mean, and we've been talking about this for well over an hour now, and honestly, this is a great conversation. I'm loving this, but I would say to conclude, well, actually, before I give my conclusion on this, Sam, is anybody else in the chat?
Yeah, so I mean, there's a few little updates here. Let's see here. Let's see. Well, so to kind of expand on the question that Get Good Kid had asked, I said they pay a lot to get the song on their game, I'd imagine. So wouldn't the money you spent on the game go towards the creators of the music as well as the game creators? Kind of. Nope. Yeah, I mean, like they'll get a very small percentage of that. The majority of that money goes to the label that's owned by them. So, but now if it is an independent band, then yeah, they're getting that. But
but
anyway.
So let me give a little clarification on that real quick. So a label, the way, and this is really like 99% of labels, we were lucky. So I'm not gonna name drop the band I was in. If you want to find out, you can go do your research. But the band that I was in, the label we were on, was a small time label. All they did for us, literally all they did for us, was book shows and some marketing. That was it. That was absolutely it. Majority, and I mean 99% of your labels, big labels that people get signed on to, the ones I can think of immediately, Rise Records, Roadrunner Records, Metal Blade, Napalm, was it
Napalm Death?
Not Napalm. No, what is it?
That's
It's yeah, there's another one, Nuclear Blast. That's something.
Okay.
Nuclear Blast. Like all these big labels, even the ones on the hip hop side, even the ones on the country side, what they do is it's kind of like going and buying a car. If you don't have the money to front your car, the bank's going to give you the loan for your car. And when you take that money from the bank from a loan, you have that, and you are agreeing to pay that back. Now, that is very cut and dry because you're paying the bank directly out of your pocket. For a band or an artist, they pay back in merch sales, plays on their song, music video views. Like YouTube, if you go to look at a band, and if they're under a record label, and you see how many plays that video has, if they made any money on that video, I guarantee you that money went straight to the label.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how it works, is a label gives you a loan. They give you the loan and say, hey, look, you owe us 3 full-length records, 2 EPs, 2 music videos per record, and we're going to also help you produce your merch. Okay, great. Sounds awesome. We could do that. All we have to do is make music and go play shows. Done. But what you don't see is these bands or artists who go out on the street and they're playing these shows. You know, that t-shirt that you just bought for $25 that you might have bitched about, guess what? That money went straight back to the label.
Yep.
Because they're paying back the loan. So it's not as cut and dry as like, okay, well, we purchased this song to play in our game, so now it's all good and fine and dandy. No, like the band doesn't see any of this. The artist doesn't see any of this. all the label's getting all the money, and the label has all the say so. Because if all the label said was, guess what, you can use our song in your game, but if someone goes and creates a video with this, if they go and do any kind of copying, because technically that's what it is. When you're recording gameplay, it's technically copying gameplay. So if you do any kind of copying, then that's it. That's not approved. We don't agree to that. No. Then you need to handle business. Go pull it down. And that's why you saw Twitch have a damn exodus of different streamers where they were just getting knocked out left and right. Because why? They had a bunch of old videos with a bunch of old songs that were owned by labels.
Yep. Labels are basically music banks.
Yeah, I wish it were so easy, but unfortunately, and this does come down to the fact, like Sam said, and I reiterate this, and we could say it in unison if we want to: labels suck.
Labels suck.
Like that's just how it is.
Yeah. And so to expand on what Chat's saying, and so good sees now. So he's, I'm assuming he says thank you. I'm just gonna say thank you for you, by the way.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Priceless, who's actually Rise of the Downfall, it's his other account. That's like his main account. He said another thing: Minecraft actually copyrighted their own like in-game music discs. So like like the little jukebox and everything like that. So you could have the other side of things. Where like, the game company creates the music and then copyrights it themselves. And so that way they can copyright strike you. So like it.
The thing too is a lot of those games do that so they don't have to.
True. But I'm just saying
let it go and just be like, eh.
Yeah, you can have a shitty company. Like, let's just take everybody's favorite shitty video game company, not shitty video games, but shitty video game publisher, EA. They could definitely, and I would 100% see them doing this, and I'm surprised they haven't already, to be honest. But and they might have, but like
the ideas,
yeah, sorry, well they're not going to watch this. Like, if so, hi to EA, give me some money for the idea.
The one day they do.
If they do, and this actually comes about, I'm going to just come on here and just be like, huh, well, that aged poorly.
Yeah, I could see them doing that, but no, I think yeah, it'd be a great meme. But yeah, no, I can 100% see them doing that.
Milk.
Yep, delicious. And then he went on to say, My Chemical Romance is a good example of that label thing that you bring up, as in 2004, them signing made a change in their career, but now it's not really needed to grow in today's standards. So yes, chimes have definitely changed to where you don't really need a label to back you to get big. And so that's a good point there. Yep. And that's pretty much all from chat.
Yeah, I mean, so my conclusion to all this really, and I mean, it boils down to, like we said, labels suck. I mean, it's the distinguishing factor between how streamers and content creators can produce their content, and I firmly believe in the idea of hire small, bring in artists, bring in musicians, bring in whoever you need to, and create your own music for the game. That way, you negate the whole issue. Because these games, unless these games clearly state that you can't go and copy the music, I mean, I don't understand why games wouldn't be. For prime example, if you go on to Twitch or YouTube right now, one of the top games that's played, brand spanking new, is Among Us. It's brand spanking new to the community.
Yep.
It's old in the case of when it came out, but brand spanking new to the community. All that music that's on that game, all of it, the sound effects and everything, created by them. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And why? Do you hear them DMCA, hitting anybody? Do you see them copy striking anybody? No,
because their game is getting played and it's getting bought and it's being everywhere. So it's basically free marketing.
Exactly. I implore every dev team, every single creator, no matter who you are or what company you run, hire small. Artists, unfortunately, we're past the day and age where labels can help, and it sucks, because back in the day, like I said, labels were the gold standard, but nowadays it's just a headache.
Yep.
You see people dedicating days and months and years to building their career by doing this. Literally this. by sitting and talking to chat, by creating some sort of video format, whether it be gameplay or video game discussion or whatever it is, that it is inclusive to the fact of having that music played in their show. And you see their careers going right down the shitter because Twitch or YouTube decided to go, okay, well, the music you had in these videos 2 or 3 years ago, can't use it. Sorry, it was owned by a label. Oh, guess what? You've had enough copy strikes in literally 2 minutes for us to go ahead and cancel your account. Bye. No chance of even deleting the videos. No chance. I mean, I literally was watching Twitter the day that all this started happening, and I'm watching streamers on Twitch and YouTube going, oh shit, I gotta go delete these videos. If you want to see them, you better go watch them now. I gotta go delete these videos. Because they knew the hammer was coming.
Yep.
But guess what? It's 2021. Labels, you better start sweating because people don't need you anymore.
Yeah, if they're not already sweating.
No, I'm sure they already are.
They should be.
I mean, it's been a gradual decline over time, but it's in recent years been a very, very sharp drop.
Yep.
Yeah. Very much so.
I guess for my concern on that, I would just say that by no means am I anywhere qualified to be like talking about legal or anything like that, like, or definitions and stuff like that. But when it comes down to this, and especially since the sharp increase in technology and platforms over the past 2-3 decades, I would say one of the steps that need to be hastened and actually expanded upon is the definitions, the write-ups, the contracts and everything like that between music composers and producers, games, and the platforms that they use to get their stuff out there. There needs to be more clarity on that stuff. There needs to be more clarity on copyright, what it actually means, what it actually does, what it protects, and all that fun stuff. By no means am I a lawyer or legal counsel or anything like that, but I would like to see more depth gone into like trying to explain and define the legalities of everything that way it would stop being such a headache and such a problem for when the hammer does come down, because there would actually be a reason for the hammer coming down.
Yeah.
Fair. Sam?
Well, my closing remarks are, it's unfortunate that a conversation about our favorite video game music had to kind of take this swing, but I mean, that's the world we live in. I mean, we couldn't not bring it up, like, at all. And so, yeah, hopefully, something will change in the future. Chat, before we go, if you just want to throw in some of your favorite soundtracks, favorite games with some of the best music, and then if you're watching on the rewind, definitely post that in the comments down below, so that way we can know, and we can just, so that way if, like, I don't know something, like, I can go look it up and start listening to some stuff. So we really appreciate that. And
I will say before we go, you are correct, Sam. It is one of those things where it sucks that we have to talk about this kind of stuff. I mean, it sucks that we had to have a full breakdown of CD Projekt Red's debacle with Cyberpunk 2077, which is a game we've been all waiting to see, or at least the majority of us have been waiting to see for a long time. But the sad fact is that these things happen, and they have to be addressed. Like, I'm sure multiple people are addressing this, but when it comes to music, and all of us being musicians, something I know I can speak for myself, at least, I'm very passionate about, and how that business is operated for people, because I've seen far too many of my friends who are musicians get taken advantage of by labels, and now I'm seeing streamers getting taken advantage of, and content creators getting taken advantage of by these labels. It's got to stop. And we can end this on a good note. At least we can end this on a good note by simply saying, hey, times are changing.
Mm-hmm.
And we can all breathe a sigh of relief in knowing that those times are when those times do truly change and this new wind of music comes through, who knows? Maybe these, devs are going to go, hey, you know what? Or any kind of company who's creating these video games are going to go, you know what? Let's bring in that band. Let's bring in that artist. Let's bring in these no names that no one's ever seen besides their hometown heroes, and let's give them a chance.
Yeah,
that's fair. But also, I don't know if I'm speaking for anyone else here, but I'm kind of tired of witnessing life altering or historical moments happening. So if we could calm down to that for a little bit.
I wouldn't necessarily say that's historical or like it's life changing for the artist for sure. But I
For the
wouldn't necessarily
content
say that's something.
creators and for the streamers. I mean, like, you know,
Yeah,
it's,
And for the whole music industry.
yeah, and then for the people watching, I mean, so that way, you know, you can get fully immersed in that kind of stuff. By the way, Anderson, Priceless has agreed with you that Doom has a 10 out of 10 soundtrack. So,
Fuck yeah. A man of class.
Well,
and culture.
on that note, let's head out, boys. If you haven't yet, please, by all means, go hit that subscribe button. Share this for your friends. We do appreciate anybody who likes to join in with the bunch. And if you haven't yet, go ahead and go to all the links down below. Follow us on all the socials. We have a lot of updates on there. If you want to join the Discord, we'd love to have you in there as well to have a chance of joining us on some challenges. But just hit that subscribe button, that bell icon, so that way you can stay up to date and see us when we pop up on Saturday and Sunday nights, and even when we post our rewinds and our playthroughs and such, because those are a lot of fun that aren't going to get DMCA'd.
Go ahead and leave some comments down there, good, bad, whatever. We don't care. Just go ahead and converse.
That's it.
Yep.
That's it. Keep it clean, keep it fun, but fight away. But we will see you in the next one. Look out for the podcast rewind and the challenge rewind this week, and we'll see you next weekend.
And a T-post to end it. I can't end the stream with this, though, so this is awkward. Anderson's just covering his camera. All right, I'll stop. Peace.